There was a man in Makkah, feared, respected, strong, known for his power, pride, and his hatred for Islam. One day, he picked up his sword. He had made up his mind. He was going to kill the Prophet Muhammad. But what happened on that day didn't just change his life. It changed the entire history of Islam. This is the unbelievable story of Umar ibn Al-Khattab, and left as one of his strongest defenders. In the early days of Islam, the message of the Prophet Muhammad was spreading, but it wasn't welcomed by many, especially not by the leaders of the Quraysh. They saw Islam as a threat, a religion that called for justice, equality, and worship of one God. Among those who hated this message was Umar ibn. He was one of the most feared men in Makkah, powerful in both strength and speech. He saw Islam as something that was tearing families apart, turning sons against fathers, and challenging the gods of their ancestors. One day, he had enough. He grabbed his sword and declared, "I am going to kill Muhammad." As he stormed through the streets of Makkah, filled with rage, he was stopped by a man named Umar ibn Al-Khattab. "Where are you going, Umar?" Umar replied sharply, "I'm going to kill Muhammad, the one who has divided our people and insulted our gods." Nuaym was shocked, but calm. He knew he had to protect the Prophet. So he said, "Before you go to Muhammad, maybe you should deal with your own house first." "What do you mean?" Umar asked. Nuaym responded, "Your sister Fatima and her husband, they've accepted Islam." Furious, Umar turned around and rushed to his sister's house. As he approached, he heard something strange, a voice reciting the Quran. Inside, Fatima and Sayyid ibn Zayd were learning from a secret teacher, Khabab ibn. Umar knocked hard. Startled, they quickly hid the scrolls and Khabab went into hiding. Umar entered, face red with anger. "What were you reciting just now?" he demanded. They tried to stay quiet, but he had already heard it. He grabbed Sayyid and began beating him. When Fatima tried to stop him, he struck her too. Blood ran down her face, but she stood firm and said, "Yes, Umar, we are Muslims. We believe in Allah and in His messenger, Muhammad." Umar froze. His sister's blood, her courage, it shook something inside him. He looked around and saw a scroll on the ground. "What is that?" he asked. Fatima replied, "You cannot touch it unless you purify yourself first." He washed himself. Then, with shaking hands, he began to read. "Taha, we have not sent down to you the Quran that you be distressed, but only as a reminder for those who fear God." His eyes softened, his voice trembled. Or a madman? These were not the words of a poet. These were divine, pure, true. With tears building in his eyes, he asked, "Where is Muhammad?" Fatima told him he was with the Muslims at Dar al-Arqam. Umar rushed there. Inside, the Prophet and his companions were gathered. They had heard of Umar's rage and feared the worst. One man said, "Oh, Messenger of Allah, it's Umar at the door, and he has a sword." But the Prophet Muhammad calmly said, "Let him in." Umar entered. Everyone was silent. He looked directly at the Prophet and said, "Oh, Muhammad, I have come to believe there is no God but Allah, and you are the messenger of Allah." The room erupted with joy. The companions shouted, "Allahu Akbar," some cried, others hugged him. From that moment forward, Umar ibn Al-Khattab was no longer the enemy of Islam. He became one of its strongest protectors, a brave leader, a wise ruler, and the second caliph after the Prophet's death. He once carried a sword to kill Islam, but he ended up carrying Islam to the world. This is what guidance can do. This is what the Quran can do. This is the legacy of Umar. If this story moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, share it with others, and subscribe for more powerful stories from Islamic history. Your support helps spread the message.